Today I'll be talking about late summer growth in Japanese maples, what produces it and how you can make the most of it. Hi there maple fans, and in this series of videos I'll be sharing what I do throughout an entire year on a monthly basis. Please note that these months are based on UK timings, but of course can easily be adapted to anywhere else in the world. So I thought we'd start with some maples in the ground today, and these are at Batsford Arboretum. And then later in the video I'll be showing you some of my ones at home. So as a start of a 10, we've got Siriu here, which is an absolute classic. Fast growing, a really lovely tree, one of the very few upright dissectums, as you'll see. And you can clearly see here we've got some lovely new growth. And it's pretty clear what's new and what's older growth on this tree because it's lovely lime green colour. But very typical for this time of year. So just moving on to another classic tree here, we've got Skeeter's broom, which is a really reliable kind of broom. It's found growing on another tree originally, which is quite peculiar. But again, you can see some lovely new growth on here. There's you've got the classic nub centre leaf, which you find on these brooms, and some very clear, nice red growth, to be honest with you. So these trees have a great reputation for looking brilliant in the spring and of course the autumn, but they really can put a show in late summer too. So moving on to Sherwood Flame here, which has been brilliantly planted, because the sort of late afternoon sun sort of goes through the leaves and makes it look really nice. So you can see you've got some different leaf coloration there, you've got some growth at the tips of the tree, but really interesting as well. You've got this sort of little hint of things to come, because some of these trees are called flame in this case because of the autumn colours. So that indeed is a kind of little hint of what's to come in terms of a brilliant display. But again, the summer growth can clearly be seen. So I must say the first really big sort of hint and tip really is that this sort of growth, which you can see here on this Katsura, is really nice, but it is leafing out with this new growth at a sort of time of year when we can still get some really quite hot days, the weather can be quite dry, the wind can be quite drying. So it's not the same as kind of the spring, sort of late March, early April. So perhaps if it's in a pot, keeping it out the way of these harsh conditions can be really beneficial. So just moving on to another tree, Acer here. Really nice variegated leaves, and this is occasionally what happens with some of this new growth. It just sort of takes off in various directions. So this is a nice well-established tree. Its roots are obviously clearly down, it's well rooted into the ground, and suddenly with a good water supply and some nutrients, this is what can really happen. And as you can see, the growth rate there is absolutely phenomenal. It's really sort of piling it on. But what we should be aware of is we don't want this to go on too late into the season, because the danger is it will grow on too late and get frostbitten. But we'll come back to that point when I look at my trees at home. So here we have a Sakazuki. Again, just you can start to see some of the colours changing here. This is one of, if not the best tree for autumn colours. So I know this is about new growth, but there's this lovely little hints of what's about to come really. I do like the shape of this tree, but you might find in someone's garden, in my garden, it just sort of spread sort of outwards and quite low, so it takes up a lot of horizontal space. But the reason I picked on this one is all these samaras, all the seeds, just literally packed full of them really. So again, this is what happens this time of the year. These can be collected, they can be stored and processed, and then used as seeds for new trees. They won't be identical, of course, to the original because they'd be seedlings, but very nice nonetheless. So just turning around behind me from the Sakazuki, there's this Acontifolium. So lovely position, and the effect of the sun on this tree makes it just better. So definitely some new growth on this side, lots of lovely coloration starting to happen. But as you can see, where the sun's on the far side of the tree, it's really got coloured up really very nicely indeed. And just to say, if you'd like to come with me on my Acer journey, please do like and subscribe to my little channel, it really helps. I've also recently set up a Patreon site, so that's a great way of supporting me too, and help out with some of the costs of my excursions really. There's also the offer of some personal help, if you'd like it, either in a group format or at a one-to-one basis. So back home here with one of the best trees that's really sort of done something quite spectacular, this Shinda Shoujo. It's just absolutely taken off. So very interesting to say why this has happened. This is the tree I planted in this pot last year. Grew on a bit, that's lovely, but I really do think that this year it's got its roots well developed, and all of a sudden it's massively taken the opportunity to put on this growth spurt. So as you can see, it's very, very clear on Shinja Shoujo what is new and what's not, and it's really, really colourful. It's like spring all over again, really, which is really quite lovely. But just looking at the size of the pot there, and I've just changed the zoom on the camera so you can see it better. But really the key message here is the pot size is sensible compared to the size of the tree. And then moving on to this tree I bought this year, as you can see, you've got lots of new growth, which you can see on this tree is defined by the larger, thicker leaves, which gradually go thinner over time. But I do feel, because I put it in a pot which is virtually the same as the pot I bought it, I just prefer ceramic ones, the roots have really filled that pot. They're already quite well developed. So it spent its energy throwing out new branches. So rather than waste of lots of energy building more roots, it's actually going to put more branches on. So the ratio of the roots to the branches is going to be much better and put it into a really good place ready for next year. So this Amagi Sugar, again, relatively small pot, and it's going to be full of roots by now. It's in its second year since I bought it. And again, some really, really good growth. So what we can see is these very sort of curly, twisted, strange leaves, to be honest with you, that kind of settle down a little bit over time. But very red compared to the purple older leaves, but really, really growing well. So there's definitely a message here. If you overpot the trees, you're going to get less growth, believe it or not. When the pot gets full of roots, that's when the tree size tends to increase. I'd most definitely also say that good late summer growth is really, really dependent on how the season's gone for your trees. So we had lots of problems in the UK with too much water, roots rotting in the early part of the year. But if you've managed that okay, the pot size wasn't too big, it didn't get too waterlogged, then there's plenty of energy in the tree. The root system is going to be very robust, and it's going to throw out some new growth like this to take advantage of the late summer. This Ukigumo actually is getting pretty tall now. Actually, it's quite a columnar shape, which is lovely. But yes, a really decent size. Now, those that follow the channel will know this tree. You can see it got quite badly frostbitten in the spring. Real shame, bad location, my fault. Always like to blame myself because I can do something about it later. Lots of lovely new growth, beautiful red stems, and certainly sort of taking off in all sorts of varied directions. And you can also start to see the habit of the tree now as it sort of spreads and develops. But I've been really careful with this. I've kept it in a sensible sized pot. I've watered it sparingly. I've kept it in a sort of fairly nice sheltered scenario with morning sun and afternoon shade. And it's nursed it pretty much back to health, really, so I'm very pleased. So another tree, Aratama here, which was in a pot that was too big. It definitely was. I overpotted it. Struggled a bit, had a bit of dieback because of the waterlogging issues. But this season, yet again, it's grown steadily throughout the year. But as you can see, the new growth is really quite red. It's quite robust. And it's grown really, really well. Love the tree, actually, to be honest with you. It's really, really quite cute. Little red leaves on the end there as well. So it just shows you there's no advantage in overpotting these things at all. You really, really want to choose the correct pot size and keep them small. So here's one of my two blood goods bought from the Aldi supermarkets here in the UK. Actually, really, really nice tree. It's certainly growing, but you can't really see the new growth versus the old very well. So it just sort of gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and has grown to be quite a decent, substantial tree, really. So 6 foot high fence, it's probably sort of 7 foot tall in the pot sort of thing. But yes, it just sort of spreads and gets larger and larger and sort of sneaks up on you, to be honest with you. And as we'll see later, some of these trees sort of start having branches that touch each other, and you kind of wonder how that happened. And here we have little Wendy, where the pot's, small compared to the tree, but the tree seems to love it and is putting on loads of growth. So much so that it's sort of interacting with the blood good to the right of it, really. So as I say, I didn't put them like that. That's not what I did. It's just they've literally grown and grown and grown and done quite well. So there's a little bit of wind burn there from this particular location. But overall, looks a bit bizarre, really, for a tree that big in a pot that size. But once again, absolutely loves it. So here we have an underrated tree, I think, Mono Nosato, which starts out life with sort of vivid, sort of purpley leaves combined with green. Actually, it's one that just creeps up with you again. You can see it's a sort of very broad spreading kind of habit, and it's impinging on the Jordan next to it, which also has miraculously got bigger. But what you can see with Jordan, on the other hand, and it's a very nice manageable tree, this, is that the var shape of it going directly upwards and sort of slightly outwards is really very nice indeed. And please note, because this is in a lot of shade, it's kept its colour, it's kept its leaves. It's looking really nice, if I say so myself. So big tip here is I only fed these trees in March with a slow release fertiliser. So if that's what you use, that's what I'd recommend. It'll be running out by now anyway, so they won't overgrow and get sort of frostbite problems. Or if you're feeding on a regular basis, do stop now. It's lovely to see the new growth, but we want it to come to an end, in the not too distant future.